We want to look at the switch function right now. If you have worked on any programming language, you know that the switch function is a replacement for nested if statements. I want to go back to the example that we've already done, which was order date and shipping date. And I want to slightly modify, or rather add another element to my problem. If you remember, we had found out the difference between the sales order and the shipment amount, which means we had two numbers here. So we had the total sales, which is my order, and the total sales, which has been shipped. And we had found out the difference by simply writing total sales for order date minus total sales of shipping date for my inventory management. So just a quick recap. What does this 5,000 mean? It means that our order generated in quarter one is 74. We have shipped 69. That means we still have an inventory of 5,000 like this. That in a way also means that we have generated a surplus order, but we are yet to ship out 5,000. Now imagine we wanted to give two results. We wanted to say surplus and deficit. That means that this is a surplus and this is a deficit. My total order is 86. We have shipped out 88. That means we have a deficit. So the blue is surplus, the orange is deficit. Now there are two ways of doing this. Let me create a measure, and I'm going to use my difference in inventory method 1. And we will say that if my total sales, which is my order date, minus my total sales, which is my ship date, and I want to compare them. So I want to say that my total order is more than my shipping. Then we want a result. So let's keep the result as, since we are shipping lesser than what we are ordering, it means that we have a surplus inventory. Fair enough? And now the result if false would be deficit. So we have created a simple if statement. Let's see how the result looks. I want to create a table with my date and my difference inventory. And let's also expand this into my quarters. So as you can see, it is telling us where is it deficit and where is it surplus. Just give me a moment. Let me change it to a table and remove the month and the day. Yeah, I think this would be a better way of showing it. So we have the year, we have the quarter, and we have the result. So as we can see from here, 2014 quarter 1 is surplus, then we have deficit, then we have, I'm sorry, I think this is 14, 15, 16, 17 quarter 1. So it should actually be like this. Yeah. So surplus, deficit, surplus, surplus, deficit, and so on and so forth. Let me also go to filter. And then because we don't want this blank to be there, I want to make sure to remove the blank. Perfect. But what if we had 3 results? That means, what if we wanted to say that where the deficit is greater than a certain number, then that means it's in danger. For example, you notice that here the deficit is 4,000, 6,000, and 12,000. So maybe 5,000 is our threshold. And if the deficit is more than negative 5,000, that means it's a danger zone. So let's modify our original if statement. So here we have stated that if order date is greater than shipping date, then it is surplus. There's no question about it. But after this, we need to write another if statement. So we'll say that if my total sales of order date minus my, in fact, we can just use the difference because we've already calculated it. So I can say if my difference inventory is greater than, or let's say is less than, let me just think about it a little bit. So we want to say that if the difference inventory is between 0 and negative 5,000, then we want a certain result which is deficit, correct? So we want to say if my difference inventory is greater than 0, double ampersand here basically means it's an and difference inventory is less than, just a minute, is greater than, okay, so there should be less than 0 and it should be greater than minus 5,000. So it looks okay. Then my result should be deficit. Okay. Otherwise, the result should be in danger. All right. Let's see if it works or not. Excellent. So now if you can see, let's go through it one by one. 5,000, which is surplus, minus 2,000, which is deficit, 7,200, 3,800, which is surplus, and this is in danger. That means this negative 12,000 is in danger. So how many dangers do we have? If you notice, we have 1 and 2 dangers, which is in quarter 1, 15 and quarter 3, 17. Now this is how we write an if statement, which is like this. But to make it simpler, we can also use a switch function. So I'll just copy the entire thing. In fact, we don't need to copy it. We can just create another measure. And in this, we will say that my method 2 will actually use a switch. So let's write it from scratch. We want to say switch. The first expression is true. And after that, it becomes much simpler, which means I can now say that, let's just copy this entire thing. This is my first value. And what is the result? The result would be surplus. The second one is this. And the result would be deficit. And the third one would be difference inventory is less than or equal to negative 5,000, and this would be danger, like this. So I'm sure all of you would agree with me that this is so much simpler than writing multiple if statements. Remember, right now we only had 3 results. What if you had 7 or 8 results? Here we can simply and very neatly write everything in a single line, but there you would have had to make multiple if statements. And let's just look at the result. So if I keep my method 2 in this as well, you can see that we're getting the same result. This is my nested if with 2 if statements and 3 results. This is my switch with 3 results, like this.